You are listening to the Global Psychosis Network.
Global Psychosis Entertainment presents the Jimbo Trashy Podcast.
Everything is a conspiracy.
Everything is a conspiracy.
Everything is a conspiracy.
Everything is a conspiracy.
It's the Jimbo Trashy Podcast, where everything is a conspiracy. Even you are a conspiracy. I am your host, Jimbo Trashy. This is episode 18. Tonight my guests are, we're calling you Jason H.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, we have Jason H. We have, what would you like to be called tonight?
Schmeegs.
Schmeegs? Okay, you're gonna have to show me how to spell that one later.
Alright.
Okay, and,
We'll just call me the Grandmaster.
Grandmaster, okay. So the Grandmaster, Schmeegs, Jason H. here on the Jimbo Trashy Podcast. First off, I want to say, Jason H., you have an arm injury. So
I do.
How'd you do that?
It's just a tough lifestyle of MMA, weightlifting. I work at a hospital where I have to lift a lot of heavy surgical equipment, so it's the wear and tear.
Oh, yeah. So you've been rehabbing that for, you said 5 weeks now?
I had my surgery about 5 weeks ago, and It's just kind of been hanging out in a sling since then. As far as physical therapy goes, that comes up in a couple weeks, and we'll see how that goes. I know if it's anything like the physical therapy I had with my hand a couple years ago when I broke it, it's going to suck because there's a lot of scar tissue that needs to be like torn and ripped, and you feel like it's literally you're re-injuring whatever part got taken care of, and it sucks, but it's all right. It's going to happen.
My main concern is how do you function? Because with one arm, it seems like you would have a hard time wiping your ass even, you know?
Well, originally...
Trying to, get around with fucking... You know what I mean?
Originally, I thought it was going to be horrible. I thought, I was practicing doing stuff one-handed, and I, made sure all the heavy shit was off of top shelves and stuff like that, and, all the milk jugs and juices were open before my surgery. But as it turns out, I can actually use my hand for a lot of shit. I didn't even wear a sling the first week because it felt so fine.
At least it's not, you're left-handed, right? So that's
yeah.
So at least it's not your good arm.
Yeah, I can write and I can do normal stuff. I take it off when I shower, when I drive, and just kind of hang out from there.
Does it still stay like this, or is it just normal once you have
it falls down. Yeah, I just I can't really lift it by itself. I need to assist lift it with my other hand. But if I'm eating some food, I can hold something with one hand and then use my good hand. So
okay, that's not
it's not the end of the world. I thought it was gonna be horrible. I thought it was gonna be 6 weeks of hell, but it's not too bad.
How much longer do you have to wait until 100% heal with that?
They said probably about a year until you're 100%. But as far as going back and lifting weights, I probably got about another 2 months to go, maybe a little bit more.
And when you originally felt the pain, was it like a sharp pain, or was it just like a dull ache and it just got progressively worse?
The first time I was carrying a heavy bag at my MMA school, and we had to carry it from the school to a park. And that's when I was like, wow, my shoulder, this is like a weird pain that I've never felt before. And since then, it got progressively worse and worse, and I'm not one to really rest too much, so I iced it a little bit here and there, but I didn't think it was a big deal. I'm a big believer of all right, you get hurt, it'll get better over a couple weeks, and that'll be the end of it. But it just got worse and worse, so I tried doing some rehab on it with my chiropractor. It didn't work. I got it checked out, and doctor said I need to do some surgery.
Yeah, I was one of those dudes that I never go to the doctor. I'm just like, I'll just walk it off and shit, I remember one time I was working at a landfill, and we had these commercial B vehicles and shit, and the fucking get up to the fucking to the cab, it's as high as this keyboard. Yeah. And I jumped down and my fucking foot landed like that, and it my whole I just rolled my ankle,
Yeah.
Felt like a sharp pop and shit, and I was sitting there fucking limping. I walked back and forth on it for probably 20 minutes, and then it just went back to normal. And that's probably the most serious injury I've ever had,
Yeah.
But so if I had to go to the doctor, I've been fucked because I have no medical insurance, So.
Well, if every single time I got banged up doing something, I'd be going to the doctor every freaking week, I stub my toe pretty bad. Sometimes at work, I'll run it over with something heavy, or I'll jam my hand, or bump my head. I mean, that's what, the people at my work, the HR and employee health, they're always giving me shit because I come in with something that happened 3 days ago. Yeah. And I'm like, I think this needs to be looked at. And they're like, why didn't you come in right after this happened? And I'm like, I'd be in here every day if something, every time I got a little paper cut or something.
Yeah.
So, Schmeegs?
Yeah.
Okay. The NHL is back. Tell us about this. I mean, what was the problem in the first place to even have it go on strike or whatever happened,
Well, the union and the NHL players, well, the NHL player union and the actual league itself were a difference in odds between how much each side should get, as far as bonuses and all kinds of things. They trying to cut out bonuses to make it so the owners know what they're paying the players, and beyond that, how much. In the end, the owners are gonna make the profit no matter what, and the players union saying, no, well, we're the ones put out there like bringing the fans in, making all the money, and you're here saying we can't get as much money as we want to get. And you have baseball out there, no salary cap. Basketball, there's a salary cap, but there's also, you can go beyond that with the luxury tax, and NHL is just so limited, kind of like the MLS, and they complain about that. So it's been a struggle, and especially as an LA fan, you look at Dustin Brown, who's our captain, and LA Kings, he's worried about it. They don't want to forget. They just won the championship, and he's worried about people forgetting. It's not Canada. It's not Michigan. There you go.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I was always worried about as far as, the Kings, they just won this championship for the first time. LA got a bunch of hype going up for all their hockey fans. I don't really watch hockey too much, but all my hockey fan friends, they were super amped about this. And I was just worried about you kind of lose that mojo a little bit, that rhythm that you had as a team, and there's that extended break.
How long was that break? Was it a whole season or?
Well, I think they said it was officially on strike for 4 months. Okay. And then when it just ended, it's now going to a 48 to 50 game season, which they just reconfigured. The Kings open up and raise their banner and get their rings on the 19th. Afternoon game just got changed to home against Chicago Blackhawks.
Nice.
Kind of took a little while because the Clippers had a night game, so they had to figure out how that was going to pan out. Obviously, Staples Center's packed over there. But
well, that's one thing that I heard too was, a lot of the fans, especially LA Kings fans, were saying, well, okay, this season is going to be something like 50 games. I think it's like 48 or 47 games. So one of the worries is, say the Kings win the Stanley Cup again and it's only a 50-game season. People are saying like, oh, is this going to be like an asterisk, kind of like, oh, well, they still had some of the mojo. It was a shortened season. Imagine a longer season, where players get injured, people get hurt, people are out, all that stuff. And that was one of the things. And, me personally, I'm more of a, baseball, football type of guy. But, I do watch hockey, I do watch soccer because, that's what my friends like to watch. And it's interesting, man. And, you have these players who work their butts off. And, yeah, you know what? They make a lot of money. But they're also those type of athletes that have that drive, that have that desire, that have worked their butts off to make that type of money. And you can't blame them for, putting their bodies out on the line all the time like that. I mean, in the end, it comes back to your personal finance, your family, I guess. So.
Absolutely. And you never know when that one injury is going to happen where you're done for. That's your career,
Yeah.
Especially, some of the younger players that maybe they weren't first-round picks or top choices. They're not making a lot of money to begin with.
It's just, to me, it's dumbfounding how greedy those fucking owners are, dude.
Oh, yeah.
They have so much
Absolutely.
goddamn money and they want more. They just want another zero on their bank account. Like, they don't even spend anywhere near how much to be in their account for the rest of their life. And they still, like, oh, I just want one more zero. So I'd be a little bit higher on the Forbes fucking top 10 richest men and shit,
Well, yeah. Jimbo, one thing, too, is, like, if those guys wanted, they can put all the money they have into, they already have it in the bank, but they can live off the interest off of that money for the rest of their life and live completely comfortable. It's just they want the Super 9000 jet instead of the Super 8000 jet they bought a month ago because it has an extra speaker, stereo system, something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, going back to what you're saying, too, about the injuries, Anze Kopitar's injured. And when? A week before the lockout ended. He injured himself, and now we have to go back, and people are saying, oh, the Kings can't do it. We're returning our entire championship squad. But 2 years ago against the Sharks, we lost first round early exit. First or second round, I can't remember exactly, but to the Sharks. And NorCal fans are all about that. But now this time, it happens again, and, oh, you guys can't defend your title, It's,
Do you guys think the Clippers are going to win the championship this season? Or is it too early to tell?
You know what? They're on a real hot streak right now. They don't have a lot of playoff experience. They have really good players. That combo with Chris Paul to Blake Griffin is ridiculous. Lob City, like people are saying. But I feel like when it comes down to it, the nitty-gritty, I just think they're going to fall apart, man. And, everyone's saying the Lakers are doing bad, which they are. You have ESPN analysts like Tim Legler saying get rid of D'Antoni. He's the head coach for the Lakers. You know, Dwight Howard and Kobe Bryant are at odds because Kobe holds his other players responsible and accountable, tells them what to do. You know, man, Dwight's out for a little bit, so is Powell. They're going to come back. I feel like after the second half of the season starts, they're going to get it going. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be in the top. They're not going to be the number 1 seed. They're going to be in the top 8, and I have a feeling they're going to do pretty good. Clippers are going to make it for sure. I think it's going to be a long run for both of them, but I kind of see the Lakers moving ahead.
What's it going to take to get Phil Jackson back? I think that's
I think that's done for after the last debacle happened with D'Antoni. I mean, they basically said that Phil Jackson was going to be back, and then
What happened with that?
Phil Jackson's, you know, at first he wasn't interested at all in coming back, but he got so much love from the fans, and people were chanting his name, and it was getting out of control. And he said that was like the magnetism that wanted him to come back, so that's why he started interviewing and stuff like that. And then out of nowhere, they just said, well, at first they said it was Phil Jackson's job to lose. And then right after that, they said Mike D'Antoni's our new coach, and Phil Jackson was just kind of like, all right, I guess that's how you guys want to do it. But I actually just read that he's engaged to the owner's daughter.
Yeah.
So obviously there's
Jamie
not too
Buss.
much hard feelings, but that's cool that he's still in the Laker family.
Yeah.
One thing I think it is too is the money issue. He was supposed to get something like over $20 million, but he wasn't going to be going on road games, just home games. That's a huge issue right there. But the funny thing is too is, you know, the Lakers' ex-coach was Mike Brown. Right now he's getting paid $12 million. D'Antoni is getting paid $11 million. It's $23 million right there that probably should have gone to Phil Jackson, in my opinion.
In the beginning.
You know, Phil Jackson at this point, just put him on a satellite feed. He can just watch from the fucking
Yeah, they have Skype
his
now,
easy
right?
chair and shit. You know,
Yeah.
at home. Fuck it. You know.
That's all it takes. I mean, he's not really an X and O's type of guy. He's more of like that spiritual leader. You just need him there at halftime to calm everyone down and get everyone focused, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
absolutely.
we have Brooklyn now that wants him. It's all about the money now. They're trying to steal him, get it over there and compete with the Knicks. Brooklyn Nets are over there saying he's on our wish list right now. They just fired Avery. Now they want Phil Jackson because obviously he doesn't want to go to the Lakers now. Got shunned. Spurned,
Yeah.
whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you guys-
oh, sorry.
All right, go ahead. You.
Just going back to Clippers real quick, though. The thing with the Clippers is, like Mike was saying, or sorry,
Grandmaster.
Grandmaster Mike.
As he was saying, look at the Thunder. Thunder have a great team. They'll win the West every year if they needed to. Well, until this year they might not because Clippers are having a great year. Like you said, experience. The only ones they really had, the only one that really won is Chauncey Billups. I guess you could say Caron Butler was there on great teams, but
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a couple older guys, but at the same
Yeah.
time, as a unit, they are a young team, much the same way the Thunder were a year ago, the last 2 years. They'll go deep, they'll do good. You know, it's hard to win a championship, man. It gets down to that nitty-gritty time, and, you know, you'll see what happens. But I like the Clippers teams. They're fun to watch, man.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
you're
they
saying,
are.
Lob City is out of control right now. It's fun basketball. Both teams, by the way, Thunder and Clippers, are extremely deep, and that's one of the great things they have going for them.
definitely.
You know, if there is an injury, they got someone that can jump right in, which, you know, is kind of something that the Lakers don't have, you know, as we're seeing right now with Chris Duhon starting and, you know, some of the other things we got going on.
Who's the center they have now? Was it Baca? No,
Sacre.
Sacre.
Robert Sacre.
I mean,
Who's
that
the
guy,
last pick of the draft.
You know, he's 7 foot tall. I mean, he's a big man, but watching him play yesterday,
Looks lost.
he was totally lost. I mean, you know, you got a great passer like Steve Nash. You know, great basketball player all around, always hustles. And, you know, he does his no-look passes that, you know, as a fan, you can tell they're coming because, you know, the momentum's building up and you just have Sacre just standing there, just looking lost. And, you know, I personally saw him commit 3 turnovers yesterday when I was watching the game. And it's
In
just
5
like,
minutes.
man, yeah, it was like 5 minutes or less.
Are you guys like Lakers fans only, or are you Lakers or Clippers, or?
Lakers only. I mean, the Clippers are a good team, but I can't stand it, dude.
I'm out. All LA.
Yeah.
And people give me trash all the time. UCLA, USC, Dodgers first, then Angels because I can do the American League, Clippers.
Hey guys, on that
Lakers.
note, we'll be right back on the Jimbo Trashy podcast.
Everything is a conspiracy.
Everything is a conspiracy.
Everything is a conspiracy. Everything is a conspiracy.
Everything is a conspiracy.
You are listening to the Global Psychosis Network.
Alright, welcome back to the Jimbo Trashy podcast. So, I guess there was a shooting in LA today. Did you guys hear about this?
No, what's the details on that?
Taft Union High School, I guess, suspect believed to be a student. 2 students were taken to a hospital after shooting Thursday morning at Taft Union High School. Let's see, it says here, 1 student was struck or was suffering from a stress-related ailment. Not much. It's not saying so much here.
Was this like a rampage style shooting, or was this just like a angry gang kid type thing?
I think it's a copycat type of thing. Ever since the whole Aurora thing, everyone's just like, "Oh, I want to do that shit."
Yeah, I would.
I want to be famous.
Yeah, from what I read earlier, was this kid. He had a problem with another one of the kids in class, a 16-year-old kid, and he came to class with a shotgun.
Wow.
Hit the first kid. He had 2 intended targets. The first one he hit, the second shot he took, he missed. And one of the teachers, I believe, ended up talking him down.
Wow.
And, you know, the kid dropped the shotgun, but the teacher sustained a head injury, I guess, from initially going up to him and trying to talk him down. Kid's in custody now. I mean, they could try him as an adult. He's definitely going to get attempted murder charges, but...
Did anyone die, or...?
No.
No? Oh, wow.
Only 2 victims, right?
Yeah, only 2 victims. Oh, sorry about that. No, but yeah, I mean, it sucks, you know? I mean, you have these kids who, you know, it's what society's come to these days. You can't go out, you know, in the backyard anymore and, you know, duke it out, and then afterwards be friends. It's like, you know, someone beats this kid up. All right, he goes and gets 2 people. They beat him up. He comes back with 4 people. They beat him up. And then knives, and then guns. Yep. It's like, you know, it's society these days, man. It's like, you know, oh, man, you can't fight. Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then so kids don't know what to do anymore, so they do what they see in the movies. They do what they think's acceptable. Guns. And...
Not to mention get famous right off the bat.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, the blueprint is out on the news every single day. I mean, as far as what they need to do to achieve their goals.
These are kids that never got attention or any sort of, like, affection at home. Well, dude, if I kill somebody, at least they'll put a fucking 60-minute on me, you know? Like, shit, I'll have a whole profile on the fucking television.
Some of these guys, too, have serious mental disorders, you know, they're making them super paranoid. They're making them so they can't socialize. And as a person, when you're meant to socialize with other people to make you feel happy, if you can't do that, then you're going to have a lot of frustration building up, and that's what these guys have building up over time.
Social anxiety disorder?
Yeah, various degrees of that, different types of, just, I don't know, just chemical imbalances and stuff.
I just think it's crazy how these people just, I mean, I've hated a lot of people in high school, you know, you let stupid shit get to you to the point I want to kick his ass, but never did it ever cross my mind I want to fucking kill somebody, you know?
Yeah.
To see, like, that mentality, like, how it seems so prevalent these days, or maybe it's just the media coming to us so quickly with the internet. It just seems like it happens more and more now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because of that or just because we're getting more information to us, but to me it's just crazy how, fuck, dude, like, everyone's just pulling triggers now. Without even thinking about it, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, and then a lot of these people say, too, you know, with these school shootings that they want to do, you know, they wanted to have more strict gun control laws. And it's like, people have to realize there's a thing called the black market. You can get a gun from anywhere. You can go up to, some gangster-looking dude in the street. Hey, man, I got $400. You got a piece I can buy? You're like, yeah. It's just right there. And, it's when you own guns, California law states that you have to have them in a safe locked up. And it's for the purpose of defending yourself and also your Second Amendment right. And, you have Dianne Feinstein saying that she wants more strict gun control laws in California. She's trying to pass some bill where, you have to register your guns anyways, but she's trying to pass some bill where, it basically infringes on the Second Amendment, and that's not going to happen because everybody in Northern California, where I go to school, very, very conservative, very Republican, and some of these girls I go to school with, they're just like, screw this, F that, blah, 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 like, these chicks are more into it than I am, and, it's pretty cool, but I don't really see anything like that happening,
Well, if you do a strict gun control thing, all it's going to do is prevent somebody that would legally use a gun to defend their family and make them jump through more hoops to get it. Yeah. Whereas you were saying, a gangbanger, they're not going to go through any sort of law to get a gun. So yeah, the black market will just thrive on that shit.
Exactly.
It doesn't take either a gun, to make a lot of people die either. If you're one of these kids, you just go online and you find out how to make a pipe bomb, and then you just blow up your classrooms that way.
Yeah,
Or there was something over, I want to say in Japan, possibly some guy went on a pitchfork rampage. He took out a bunch of people with a pitchfork. That's the most primitive farm thing we have.
What is this, like the 1700s or something?
Exactly. Well, they have strict gun laws over there, so you gotta get your rampage on apparently with whatever you got available.
Well, yeah, you also have to realize too is that as humans, we are violent. It's in our nature.
Yeah.
It's meant to survive, and these rampage killings, they are ridiculous, but someone is always gonna find some way to hurt someone else. That's just
Absolutely.
how it is. And you can say, oh, there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, you can make these laws, but in a sense, it's just going to cost more money, more time, and
the problem will not be solved.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't see any sort of gun laws like really doing anything to fix the problem. But I do know that there's some people that think they're trying to do this gun law stuff or the gun control thing to try and take the guns away from the people so that way they can go towards a tyrannical government. Hitler took away the guns back before World War II, and they thought nothing of it. Oh, just trying to make the country safer, and then there you go. Fast forward a few years later, and now you can just overtake the entire country because no one can defend themselves.
Yeah.
So there's this guy named Alex Jones. I'm not sure if everyone knows who he is, but he's a big conspiracy guy, and he has this theory that the whole reason behind the guns and all that stuff, all these shootings getting glorified, they're all basically, in his words, they're inside jobs. So it's kind of out there, but he was on Piers Morgan. Let's see if I can bring up that clip. But he fucking rips Piers Morgan a new one. It's pretty funny here. So I can find this real quick.
In my opinion, Piers is an idiot in the first place.
The only guy that had the guns. So we did it to point out that this is globalism, and the mega banks that control the planet brag that they've taken over.
I can't really hear it.
Bloomberg, AP, Reuters, you name it, brag that they're going to get our guns as well. They've taken everybody's guns, but the Swiss and the American
you guys hear
people.
it?
And
Yeah.
when they get our guns, they can have their world tyranny. While the
Sounds
government
quiet.
buys 1.6 billion bullets, armored vehicles, tanks, helicopters, Predator drones, armed, now in U.S. skies, being used to arrest people in North Dakota. The Second Amendment isn't there for duck hunting. It's there to protect us from tyrannical government and street thugs. Take the women in India. Your piece earlier on CNN I was watching during
He's about to go
Andrew's
ape shit in a minute.
didn't tell you that the women of India have signed giant petitions to get firearms because the police can't and won't protect them. The answer is, hey, wait a minute, I have FBI crime statistics that come out a year late, 2011. 20+% crime drop in the last 9 years. real violent crime because more guns means less crime. Britain took the guns 15, 16 years ago, tripling of your overall violent crime. True, we have a higher gun violence level, but overall muggings, stabbings, deaths, those men raped that woman in India to death with an iron rod 4 feet long. You can't ban the iron rods. The guns, the iron rods, Pierce, didn't do it. The tyrants did it. Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms. Doesn't matter how many lemmings you get out there on the street begging for them to have their guns taken. We will not relinquish them. Do you understand? And that's why you're going to fail, and the establishment knows no matter how much propaganda, the Republic will rise again when you attempt to take our guns. My family in the Texas Revolution against Santa Anna, my family was at the core on both sides starting that because Santa Anna came to take the guns at Gonzales, Texas. Pierce, don't try what your ancestors did before. Why don't you come? I'll take you out shooting. You can become an American and join the Republic.
You finished?
Yes, I am finished. You will not take my right. You go through background checks to get guns. How about Prozac? You know the number one, oh, that's the big sponsor, isn't it? Or that whole class of drugs.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh, gotta cut that off, don't you? Don't want to talk about the U.S. number one cause of death is suicide now because they give people suicide mass murder pills.
Calm down.
Your answer is give more money to the psychiatrists, psychologists to put more crazy people on drugs and make them kill people, Pierce.
Let's try and have a debate here.
Yeah.
Answer me this question.
I'm sick of the same old script here, bud.
It's fine, bud. How many gun murders were there in America last year? Do you know?
There were about 11,458, and about 74% of those were gang-related, gangbangers shooting each other. You get 3,500 to 4,000.
Okay,
How many people died from infections in hospitals? 197,000.
Let me just ask you
That's right.
This guy knows
How many
shit.
gun murders were there in Britain?
How many great white sharks
How many
kill people every year, but they're scared to swim?
Right. How many gun murders were there in Britain?
A very low amount. I already went over those
How many,
statistics.
do you know?
I was only a few hundred.
No. How many gun murders?
I actually did pull up statistics. Here, let me pull them out right here. I figured you'd do that.
Gun murders
Oh, wait.
last
UK
year.
violent crime capital of Europe. London Telegraph. Here, let me
It's
give you
quite a
one.
simple question.
Well, that's the oldest.
You're very loud,
that's the
man.
No, that's the
You
oldest
make a
Perry
lot of
Mason
noise.
tactic to ask me some little factoid.
So it's not a little fact.
I already said earlier,
talking about
England
a
has a
country.
lot lower gun crime rate because you took all the guns.
Let me try exactly
But
my
you've got hordes of people burning down cities and beating old women's brains out every day.
What a ridiculous
They
thing.
arrest people in England if they defend themselves. That's on record. My God, you have got a total police state. Everybody's fleeing that country because you've had to flee here, bud. Why don't you tell folks? Yeah, you fled here. Why don't you go back and face the charges for the hacking scandal?
Answer this question. How many...
This guy left the UK because he had some sort of scandal. That's why he's bringing that up.
How...
You're a hatchet man of the New World Order. You're a hatchet man. And I'm going to say this right here. You think you're a tough guy? Have me back with a boxing ring in here, and I'll wear red, white, and blue, and you can wear your Jolly Roger.
Okay. How many gun murders were there
Oh, you're going to ban your fist
in
now?
Britain last year?
How many chimpanzees can dance on the head of a pin? I already went over those statistics.
Do you know the answer?
No, I don't.
You said hundreds.
It's very low.
You said hundreds.
Yes.
It's actually 35.
Well, the point is, you can...
Against 11,000. Do you understand the difference between 11,000
Yeah, England
and
wants to
35?
ban knives now because tens of thousands are getting...
Anyway, this goes on for a little bit, but
Nice.
there's a whole second part to that thing where he gets even more to the point where they just take him off the air because he gets too fucking nuts on him.
Yeah. I mean, well, that guy, he's right. I mean,
Some good points.
he had some really good points in there. And, you know, like I said earlier, Piers Morgan, he's a complete jackass.
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll be right back on the Jimbo Trashy podcast.
Everything is a conspiracy.
Everything is a conspiracy.
Everything is a conspiracy. Everything is a conspiracy.
Everything is a conspiracy.
Check out the latest sounds from the occult experimental rock project Elvis on Acid with their second album release, Prehistoric Psychonaut.
With historic obligations, we've come so far. We're cutting away the spiritual line. Take consolation, they don't care who you are. We're dabbling us to hell, it's written in the stars.
Follow Elvis on Acid on Twitter @Elvis on Acid. Go to youtube.com/Elvis on Acid to hear the latest. Global Psychosis Entertainment, Dark Jam Records, and Elvis on Acid are not responsible for any violent revolutions, drug overdoses, or attempted suicides that may occur after listening.
Loyalty to the royalty. The fallen eagles sing divine right of kings.
This ad has been brought to you by Global Psychosis Entertainment and Dark Jam Records. Copyright 2013.